They've been to so many. They've been around the block. They keep going, but they haven't been able to make it work for them. Now, this is the beginning of the season, so we're a long way off from that land. Let's take a look at the bans for this match and see which maps won't be played. So, of course, Border not going to be on the docket, cannot be played as both teams played it yesterday. But, or no, I guess not. This was the one match that they didn't play Border.
It should be Border and then either Oregon or Consulate. So we just have a...
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Just a technical...
Oh.
There you go, Consulate. So
okay.
Consulate and Border are off the board for today, so no Border at all. Yes, your eyes did not deceive you. As much as you might think your eyes are getting worse, Michael.
Well, I can barely see the screen from here.
That's okay. It's
Border gone, Consulate gone.
Consulate is gone. So every team did play Border yesterday, so Border cannot be played. Consulate, we'll see which teams have banned what. Clubhouse is going to be gone. I will be shocked if we end up on Villa. FaZe will probably ban, I'm guessing probably Villa first. There you go. It's off the board. Maybe a Bank and Coastline with Oregon being our pick. That would probably be my guess. Bank, Coastline.
Those are the exact same bans that we saw in the previous match, except for Bank being rotated for Oregon. That's... and on the same sides too. We saw Villa and Coastline banned by the same team previously, and then it was Clubhouse and Oregon by the other team. So not much difference here.
So at least both of these teams, neither of which will be able to play Oregon next week. We could have a Border Palooza on us, but we don't know. We'll have to figure that one out. But Oregon is where we're going to go. FaZe is traditionally a team who has performed quite well on Oregon. For BootKamp, nothing really jumps into my mind as to how they perform on Oregon as a team, and that could just be simply recency bias because we've seen a lot of FaZe over the last little while, especially with their performances at LAN. And
yeah, we haven't seen a lot of BootKamp. I mean, nothing that stands out.
Right. So for BootKamp, they are going to be hungry, and I'm sure the community vote for this one might be pretty intriguing. Probably very similar to what we saw with NIP and T1.
Thinking probably, 80% BootKamp, 20% FaZe.
Oh, it was a joke.
Ha.
He makes those from time to time.
He makes them all the time. I'm allowed.
Maybe too much. Maybe too much.
No, okay, it's all right.
Maybe I make them.
I think it's something we all love about you, Parker. You can keep doing that. But like about you, Parker.
Like, there we go. Maybe loathe.
Loathe.
So
yeah,
coming.
That's a great word.
So coming into this match, the one thing I can say about BootKamp, and I tuned the last couple times I tuned into BR6, if I recall correctly, BootKamp was actually playing on both the days. We'll take a look at the community vote and see, just as we debate over this. The one thing is, and yeesh.
I was right on the money, opposite teams.
88 to 12%. There's 88% of you that are saying FaZe up right now.
FaZe up, bro.
There you go.
All right, so
88 to 12%. So that is
apparently this is a very one-sided match. Looks
now,
like we have a 6-0, 6-1.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch. NIP had an 87%. They lost. Cloud9 had 70%.
They lost.
They lost. Black Dragons was at 64%. They tied. So it's just one of those things where the community doesn't always get it right, but that's okay. Speculation is always quite fun. We will head to Oregon for our final matchup of the day and the last of Latin America until next week when we will be on Playday number 3. Let's head to Oregon, and we'll start off, of course, with the operator bans. BootKamp is going to be
so exciting.
Grabbing the first operator, and this is obviously starting on defense. You get to ban attackers first. This is a system that I could foresee getting tweaked at some point.
What, the ban phase?
The fact that the defenders get to ban the first attacker, and it immediately hurts the attackers right out the gate for 5 rounds. It might stand to reason that the defense should probably ban defense first. I don't know. This is something that can always be reflected upon. But hooray, celebrate, party in the streets. We will have Hibana in Oregon as the 2 attacking bans will be both Blitz and Glaz, and then the first defender ban is Amira. So sometimes the devil you know is preferable to the devil you don't.
You're losing one leg in exchange for another. And on the other hand, we have Glaz and Blitz being banned. So those are 2 operators that I think a lot of players would be joyous to see off the board. Valkyrie, the final ban for the defense there. I mean, we all know that Latin America is very fond of Valkyrie. I think in the Latin American region, she's considered one of the top tier operators. They like her gun. They like her as an operator. I mean, just in general, the ability. and I think much more so than other regions. So it stands to reason we've been, or other regions, excuse me. It stands to reason that we've been seeing her banned throughout most of these matches.
The one thing as well worthy of keeping in mind is the last couple looks that we've had at FaZe playing on this map in particular, Mav has run Roughsod over the defense as Blitz. He has absolutely pummeled them, and you now are taking him off of that shield operator. Right now he's sitting on a sledge. He'll flex off to the Thatcher. Maybe he's going to go with the shotgun because Thatcher has one of those. I don't know.
Looks like it's going to be a top floor defense now for BootKamp. Kind of an interesting decision being made here by the defenders. This is the first time, I think, today we have seen Oregon where the top floor is the first defensive bomb site, usually the basement coming out first, but not so here for BK. And that stands to reason. I mean, either bomb site is good, really. You've got your options.
So we have the Echo up top just working away with that shotgun. And yeah, having Mav on that Thatcher is going to be very interesting because he really shone last season as that shield operator.
Yeah, so yeah, the Blitz ban, like you said, definitely going to hurt him a lot. You've got your options, though. I mean, later on, could see maybe some, I don't know, some Montaigne is possible, or he could bring Blackbeard. Blackbeard's still useful on this map. I mean, even if you're attacking the
very
basement,
much so,
he's
yeah,
still useful. So I mean, there's options for Mav to make it work, but right now he's just starting it out with a Thatcher. And we also have, interestingly, an Ashe. We were talking about Ashe earlier in the previous match, in fact, and how rare she is these days, and how it usually just falls down to personal preference when she gets picked.
Yeah, well, we speculated during
the
Lion meta that a big portion of why you didn't have her was because she excelled at being able to get in quickly, have a great gun, and get a kill or two. First contact is actually going to come from Duds. The Jaeger playing underneath that entry point onto the top of Tall Tower, looking to see if the Ashe can spot the Jaeger, but no, he will get away.
Light downed in main lobby, entrance to meeting hall. Astro, some simple angle player. I don't know what's going on there with your Legion peeking main lobby a minute into the round. Very confusing, but BootKamp going to effectively give away a free kill.
Yeah, that is essentially what we like to call a freebie there, and a very easy kill. And Duds,
is it free?
I think so. And then Duds could have possibly been picked off as well. So right there, two members of BootKamp in positions where FaZe could have been very easily obliterated them. Only one is lost. Duds immediately gets drawn down and will push towards basement. The site is, of course, upstairs in Kids' dorm, so that means that the Jaeger will have to try to get back to site. Intact is holding an angle down into the basement in case somebody decides to push down and maybe take out the Jaeger. There's two positioned in the main doorway. So the smoke quite far off site at the moment, trying to work at opening up an even greater line of sight down those basement stairs. Cameraman will take out Duds, so they will find the Jaeger, and it only took about 30 seconds to get him.
We have two players off site right now, only one potential anchor, and it looks like we actually just saw Intact miss a kill. The Ashe running up those laundry stairs, and the smoke looking away at the perfect moment to allow that to happen. Paula trying to challenge this balcony, but it's very dangerous, that's for sure. The attacker's in a great position to pinch on him should they get the opportunity. I'm sure they will. The vault, though, from Paula, completely shut down. Gohan, an easy kill there. They're giving it away, Parker.
They're just giving it away. Come get your kills.
Get your operator advantage. We're giving it away.
Gohan is not going to lose that kind of fight, and Paula just missing the shots. An even worse spot at the moment for Intact, who will now smoke both the armory hallway as well as the main entrance into Master Closet. He pulls out his shotgun and can take a fight at very close range. Anybody who walks in, just put one through his chest. He'll reveal himself for just a second, but there's only 10 seconds to go, and he can thrive in this position. Using the pump shotgun, he'll get one down, but no, Gohan is there. One left, and it's M King who will have to work on that yokai drone, going for the plant, and oh my, BootKamp at the last second, the yokai drone will save it around that FaZe had locked down. No thank you. That's BootKamp taking it away. The drone hits the ceiling, a blast to knock the thermite out of the plant, and even though in a 1v4, the power of that plant denial, BootKamp takes round one.
So you could dismiss that as a stroke of luck. You could just say, it's just, you know, happened to have the yokai drone in the right place at the right time. But that's just exactly it. It's the right time. FaZe allowed that round to get down to the last couple seconds. Ultimately, it's their fault they lost. Despite having such a good advantage, despite playing it well, they did take 3 minutes to get into Generator to start their plan. And if it weren't for that, the yokai wouldn't have been able to clutch it out. So, big mistake there from FaZe. Obviously, they're probably going to fix that. They are known for their adaptation, their ability to not repeat. And on the other hand, BootKamp, got to be happy about that victory. Going to alleviate a lot of pressure in this match and force them downstairs.
And the Thatcher's still in play. Could have gone for the disable on the yokai and did so, actually. The yokai came off of being out of action due to the EMP with 1 second left, and that's really all the Echo needed. So FaZe's inability to drone out the Echo or even bother to bring an IQ or scan for that is really going to come back to haunt them. And of course, Mav flexing onto the IQ will show that you can hunt down those yokais, should they exist, with a bit more reliance. That's M-King who's going to be running the Echo yet again. So we'll have an easier chance of seeing the yokai, providing the IQ stays alive long enough into the round to see it.
And that's very likely. Mav's a pretty smart player. He's pretty good at keeping himself alive till when he's been fully useful. However, that mostly just comes up to BootKamp and how aggressive they choose to be. Based on the last round, very likely they're going to play a little bit more passive. They had a heavy roam game, but it was just moved around basically by FaZe. They saw the roamers over by Armory, and they said, okay, we'll push elsewhere. And then eventually the roamers rotated back to site, and it was a simple push for FaZe into site. Still, though.
It didn't take much more than that.
Still, though, they lost to a yokai drone, so, I mean.
Who would win? 4 of the best players in all of Latin America or 1 flying Roomba?
Yep. Turns out the Roomba.
The Roomba won.
Yeah.
So, some drone work from Mav, not some drab work, some drone work from Mav as he spies 1 up in...
Drab drone work?
The drone work was not drab, that's for sure. He manages to see 1 up in Armory, and the call will be made to his team. You can see that there are a number of FaZe members situated in that main lobby. They will need to start their push downstairs, and even though Hibana is unbanned for the first time today, it will be FaZe Clan deciding not to run her on this site. So just in case they're curious, you can pick Hibana. They will go for the Thermite instead. Cameraman, who has been very nimble, and I like the way they've been using Cameraman. This is a definite change to the team. Cameraman has been on the fragging role, and Gohan has been playing a more support-oriented role. So that is very interesting. Gohan, of course, was doing the IGL and primary shot calling for the team, while also on entry roles along with Astro. You've now moved Cameraman onto that role, maybe so that Gohan can do some more calling from a more support-oriented position, similar to what Evil Geniuses is doing with the changes to Canadian and BC, and now that they have Kanto, Fabian will be on a less fragging-oriented role as well. Completely blinded, Gohan will fall, and that's Lipe getting the kill on the Soul Hard Destructor, and also will mean that the hatches, at least for the time being, will be relatively safe. And Tactum is being completely blitzed as Astro will rush in and looks to take the fight, but no, the smoke will jump out the window. His spot will be given away. Astro will light up the floor, but it does appear that Intact will get away long enough to be shredded by Mav.
Good play there from Intact. Lots of time wasted, but ultimately not able to get away with his life. Cameraman, nice kill on the duds. That's one of the roamers over by Meeting Hall, eliminated. That's going to leave Lipe as one of the only anchors right now, actually. Paula far afield, and M-King nowhere to be seen right now. No, it looks like he's actually playing in the closet. Didn't quite catch that. But he's got that yokai drone. He's going to be trying to use it to deny the defuse plan again. Will he be successful? Second time is really the question. Paula not aware that he is not being held right now. The only flank watch from FaZe Clan is onto that Meeting Hall entrance. Meanwhile, he has a lot of options from this flank. Ash going to rotate over. That's Cameraman trying to fight Paula. Lipe's going to get Moringa, and Paula will take out Camera, M-King, Mav, and it's just Astro now in a 1v3. And he gets 1, but cannot get the other 2. And yet again, FaZe with the poor time. I feel like I've been saying that all day.
It has been a very interesting day in terms of time management.
And this time there's no Hibana, or there's no lack of a Hibana to blame for the poor time management.
And there was no Mira really downstairs either. I mean, you're going with a site.
What is going on?
You're going with a site where Mira is seen so regularly. on the laundry supply room downstairs that it should be relatively easier. So you have to give some credit to BootKamp on the way that they played that. You're defending a site that a lot of people who are probably watching this broadcast have never played before Mira existed. And because of this, it's inconceivable that you would defend that site successfully without her. So you have to wonder, how does BootKamp design their defense around the fact that they don't have a Mira? Well, they have the Yokais there scouting out to the team, allowing the other defenders to know where the push is going to come from. You invest even more heavily in establishing a strong roam presence so that you can take up all that map control without any real effort going towards attacking the site. And FaZe didn't know how to handle it. By the time FaZe got to the site, they had lost so many bodies and so much utility that Astro was all alone down there. And once again, BootKamp will win it in the dying seconds. So 2 rounds where well played from BootKamp so far, and they managed to run up a 2-0 lead. And even though 12% of the people thought that this was going to happen, so far BootKamp proving them correctly. By nature, though, of the rotation, they're going to have to defend Tower, which, as we said earlier, does look to be the one site that is in more favor right now over Kitchen.
At least in the Latin American region. I mean, it makes a lot of sense given their play style. I would probably bet money that they would go to Tower 9 times out of 10 over Kitchen. Yeah, Kitchen's the sort of site where it's really difficult to hold on to your advantage as the defenders, and Latin America is very much an adrenaline-based region where they like to go for that advantage. They like to keep pressing their agenda, and you just can't really do that on Kitchen, not really. I mean, it's possible, it's just difficult. Now, on Tower, on the other hand, you have to make sure you have a good array of defense, not just players inside of Tower, but also players out on the west side of the building, and they have just that. BootKamp well spread out right now. It's going to be beholden to FaZe to drone out and hunt down these roamers, something they were not so great at doing last round. They also have the option to simply push the site. However, that has been mostly unsuccessful throughout the day. However, in this match, of course, we have yet to see what the result will be if that's the attempt.
And I wonder how much of this also is being hurt by Mav being off of that blitz, because the way that FaZe would play this site traditionally, and as I say that, speak of the devil and he shall appear, Mav gets a kill right away, and so does Astro. So 2 swift order kills right now. 1 minute in, Light with that P90 trying to contend through the doorway of Kitchen, looking towards the bathroom door, and he will get picked apart. He'll juice himself back to health, as Doc is able to do, but by the time he pops up, Mav with a 2nd kill.
Mav doing great so far in this round, and Astro as well contributing heavily. So BootKamp finally at it's such a disadvantage that it's unlikely they're going to be able to get the win. It's still possible, although you know, you just don't expect it. Paul is in a good position here. The attic control will aid his team quite a lot. They've got a delay though for half the round. So yeah, talk about efficiency in terms of time. FaZe has been doing great here.
3 opening deaths for BootKamp, as it's very difficult. And that's what I said on Tower. Usually you see one of 2 things happen. Either the action comes really early on and everything falls apart, or it waits till the final dying seconds, as we've seen from most of the rounds. But I was going to say, on the typical push downstairs, the way that FaZe would structure it previously is you'd have 3 people essentially guiding Mav in on that blitz. And wow, as I'm trying to assemble my thoughts, FaZe just decides to kill the final 2 members of BootKamp. 1, 2, that is it. Lickety split, all gone, and FaZe will finally take their first round, whether it was gifted just because of good coordination or due to it being on Tower. That's the real question.
You know, you could argue for Tower, but honestly, I think that FaZe played that pretty well. There was a good setup from BootKamp that could have seen success, and we have actually seen a lot of successful Tower defenses today, but just not enough. FaZe clamping down on those roamers started off with the nade from Mav, and you discussed whether it was the reason FaZe has lost 2 rounds is because Mav is not on the shield, and that's possible. I think, you know, on the default bomb sites, the way that Mav is utilized on this map as a blitz is he's basically the start of every attack. So, like, you're going to push something, Mav's in front. He's calling out info. He's directing the assault. And they don't have that right now. FaZe is missing that component. So it's definitely going to hinder them. And it's, I think, especially prevalent on Oregon for FaZe. So...
Absolutely. Also, we see both of those bans actually coming out from BootKamp directly target Mab, because we'd seen him playing Valkyrie as well of an abundance on defense.
Yep.
So very interesting that they did that. I don't know how calculated that is, whether they're specifically trying to take him out of action, but both of them directly impacting operators that he is known to use with great frequency here. It's not really hurting him on the scoreboard, though, because, of course, he's competing for top with Astro. He's got Cameraman lagging not too far behind, and Moringa, who is, I suppose, probably their purest support-based operator right now. Contributions being seen elsewhere, but lagging behind the rest of the team.
I mean, if you don't count Habana, and Habana's kind of in a gray area, that's for sure. But you've got nothing but 3 speeds except for of course, the old Dokabi. So kind of an interesting lineup here from FaZe Clan, and going to favor the aggression.
The other note, too, are those statistics are gonna show you that FaZe is winning on scoreboard in terms of killing potential, but that is also being weighed heavily by the first round, where they killed everybody except for one, but still lost. So that's why a big reason why the scoreboard doesn't always show the whole story.
Yeah, BootKamp, the 2 rounds they've managed to win have not been convincing, I have to say. I mean, they got the victory, but even on the second one, it could go either way. Now, FaZe, on the other hand, that last round, very convincing, definitely their win, and it was over about 90 seconds in. So we'll see if they can keep that going. Here, they're attacking now onto the top floor. Very different story. Of course, the first site that BootKamp defended, where they were successful thanks to a well-timed yokai drone. So FaZe's main nemesis right now is not necessarily BootKamp, but more time itself. And again, I feel like I've been saying that all day, but still, I'm going to repeat it as long as it's relevant, all right? But no, it is something that FaZe is going to have to manage pretty well here. They're starting with Armory control, and that makes sense. Very smart play. There isn't anyone from BootKamp holding it, so it should be a easy breezy, lemon squeezy Arsenal control.
And I can see the slowness of the round that we've picked up on so far today. I can see that getting quicker as the season goes on and as teams get more accustomed to dealing with bans and counter bans.
Agreed.
And right now, you're going to see Astro accidentally, I think, expend one of those charges. I don't know if he deliberately missed that shield or not.
I can't imagine he did. It's going to hinder his team.
It's not going to be great, that's for sure. Gohan will use 2 of those X-Kairos bursts to open up the wall into Master from Generator, or rather the other way around. And Generator is now free for them to push in. Of course, there's still 1 bandit charge being placed, but you don't really need to worry too much about that. You've got Ash on flank watch downstairs using that holographic sight, and Astro right now, I'm not quite certain what Astro is trying to attempt here as he looks over that deployable shield and gets one of those concussive rounds in, but nobody at all really positioned to take it one bit. You've also got a couple bodies stacked up on white stairs, and right now, all of BootKamp is really sequestered by the big window and around that specific area. This could be fatal for FaZe if they all try to push in, because they'll be funneling into one direction. A grenade will go off, Duds almost falls, and now Bandit will need to push up. They're essentially tagging each other in and out, but a lot of trepidation from FaZe trying to get in.
Last 20 seconds. And the first kill of the match at the 20-second mark for Astro. Cameraman follows up. Astro a second one for himself. Complete domination here for FaZe. M-King's going to fight back. Paula missing some important shots. Will not miss the second engagement, though. But Moringa, how does he win that? M-King able to fight back continually, but Gohan the final kill, and FaZe win. An absolute... It's more of the same we've seen. I mean, this is... It's 20 seconds, first death.
Yeah, it was a... That was a raid. That was a dorm raid right there, as they just surged.
Exactly what it was.
It was a really good position for BootKamp too, potentially. You know, if they had just kept hold and cover on that one shield and maybe locked it down, Astro's not going to be able to have the opportunity to get a couple kills over top of the deployable shield, and that might have actually been a smart idea for him. If he was using those impacts to try and take care of the ADSs or the bandit batteries on the other side, he can then turn around and play the angle above that deployable shield, so maybe it was a calculated effort for him not to take care of it.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Always very difficult. Always difficult to really discern what the players are thinking, whether they're deliberately going for a tactic, if it's planned. You know, that we've been in times where drones have been stashed in certain areas, and we've been saying, oh, that's a brilliant spot for a drone, when in all reality, it's just where the drone was the last time and you died and you didn't get to move it.
Yeah, and that does happen. I was, you know, at first when I saw the shield, I thought, yeah, he should probably destroy it. He must have missed. But yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of potential to play it not over the top necessarily, or not just over the top necessarily, but also on the sides. But whatever the case, I mean, it didn't really influence the round that much. To be honest with you, I think I think it mostly came down to the fact that when FaZe sprinted into the site, they won their fights. I mean, the problem is we don't get to see a lot of the engagement. You know, we see a quarter of it.
It happens so fast.
That's
it's
the
all,
issue.
It's all encapsulated in the, a 20-second window of time that you don't get to see every single thing that happens.
It's not anyone's fault. It's not the game's fault. It's just when you're looking at a 10v10 at 20 seconds.
5v5.
Yeah, sorry. No, a 10v10, Parker. We're playing Rainbow Six Siege 2. It's 10v10 now, don't you know? No, you're right, a 5v5. When you're looking at a 5v5 with 20 seconds left, you know you're not going to be able to see all the action, and a lot of it's just going to be chalked up to chaos.
Yes.
And that's what that round was.
I do think that BootKamp was in a much better position to hold that off, but Astro was one of the best pure fraggers. You know, it's hard to always rank where players fall on the spectrum. You know, a lot of people turn and look at both Nesk and Penguin. They say, yeah, they're probably two of the best players that play this game.
Yeah.
You know, fair. Astro, I don't know if he's as well-rounded as Nesk. I don't know if he's as well-rounded as Pengu, but he's got absolutely incredible aim. Very precise, and when you're going up against somebody like that, he just really doesn't miss shots. And when he's given the opportunity to slay, that's exactly what he does. Right now, he is currently 6-0. So in the 2 rounds that FaZe has lost, mind you, one of the rounds, 4 of them were still alive. The other, Astro, was last one left as he was pushing into the site solo in the final 10 seconds. He's been contributing in a lot of ways to his team. Immediately, the impact of Hibana is known, as you can see on your screen here as we pivot towards the actual action. It's taken 1 minute and 10 seconds, and all 3 of those rounds of X-Karos have happened. They managed to open up the pantry inside a meeting to get a presence in meeting, and as well get the main hatch in lobby to once again apply some control that they have above and cut off rotates in laundry room.
You don't really think about Siege without Hibana until you see Siege without Hibana, and it is definitely a whole different ball game.
Oh, absolutely.
So, BootKamp holding on to tower. They also have meeting hall control whether they know it or not. That yokai drone jumping up and down trying to call out information for his teammates will instead be pushed over towards the main lobby to try and halt this FaZe clan attack onto Laundry. Yokai gonna just delay ever so slightly here. Gohan disoriented now. He's still got a lot of time though. Mav from above will get intact. That's a good read there. Paula responds as Astro eliminated, and a second for Paula from the meeting hall. Jeez, doing some great work there. And there's still no Amira window, because there's no Mira from BootKamp. They don't seem to value. I believe she was actually banned out, as we talked about earlier. So an interesting defense being set up here from BootKamp. They have all the tools except for the window.
And you can hear those logic bombs go off too to try to freeze them in place. Duds is still on a deep flank at the moment and could drop down from that meeting hall or attic into meeting hall at any real opportunity. BootKamp decidedly waiting on those phone calls to give away their position, possibly to try to bait them out. Duds does go for the flank, gets mad, but gets shredded by Moringa in a 2v2. Lipe is there though to clean up Moringa, and it's going to be all up to Gohan. Goes for the plant, but the yokai drone is still in effect. He will get hit and disoriented, will get blasted by the yokai drone, and will have to go for the fight. M-King is still there, and this is unwinnable for FaZe. Gohan, a valiant effort, but once again, BootKamp has proven to be so good in the dying defensive rounds, really cleaning things up and closing it out in a way that shows that they understand what they are doing with that echo play. And M-King right now has been instrumental in BootKamp's 3 victories on defense, and even when FaZe won, you know, it's been an interesting back and forth between these two teams. It's looked swift from FaZe on one of those 2 rounds, but man, BootKamp is really hanging with the former #1 seed of this region last season.
And you know, the name of the game for BootKamp is clearly just delay, delay, delay. And you could see FaZe trying to speed things up, but it's not working out for them because BootKamp keeps on finding a way to stop that play. I mean, the Legion inside of Meeting Hall, Paula getting 2 kills as well as a late flank.
So with BootKamp going to attack for the first time, we'll see an interesting strategy. It looked like they're switching off of their Soul Hard Breacher, but that would be a very interesting choice. They're going to take 0 hard breachers down to laundry and supply room. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it's going to pay off or not. And essentially, this is going to have to be an absolute bulldozer of a push. Now, you've got a Finka, you've got a Lion, you've got a Dokkaebi. You've got basically everything in the works for a very fast construction rush being headed up by the Ashe and even the fragging potential of the Twitch too. So with it being laundry supply room downstairs, this could be a really fast round if BootKamp puts all these tools together and decides to go the construction route.
It is definitely an option, but I don't know if it's going to be the best. I mean, again, we talked about it earlier. You know, there's one particular operator that aids you a lot when you're looking at a construction take, and that's Blitz. You can bring a Montaigne to supplement it, but honestly, you're going to want that Blitz. And because of that, or the lack of it, I'm guessing it's going to be something different. The only thing is, no hard destructors, like you said, so I guess a main lobby rush. Okay, Dud's all the way in now. He's in sight. He does not check laundry all the way, so he gets shot from his flank. The prone does not work anymore like that, Duds, but Paula gets a double kill behind the Ashe. So BootKamp have the control that they so wanted thanks to a well-read rush in through the main lobby stairs. M-King's going to get Astro on the flank, and the diffuser is going down. It has finally been planted. Evil Eye still alive, but not able to deny that plant. Mav going to have to call his phone, and Gohan going to have to stand still in just a second as the EE1D is used. A nice strategy being employed here from BootKamp, and it is all but impossible for FaZe Clan to fight it back. M-King and intact. Lock it up. An excellent execution from BK.
And what did we say about rounds taking a little bit longer? This had all the makings for a rush strategy, and that's exactly what they did. No construction for them, though, and I think you're absolutely right. A lot of times when you're taking construction, a sledge, a buck, or a blitz will accompany that. Instead, they just decided, let's do exactly what we need to do, and we'll just take complete control of the site. And this is part of what happens when you don't have a Mira to play that power position. In fact, it didn't really look like FaZe had done much setup whatsoever on the site either. They had both of the walls inside of that closet completely unreinforced. It didn't appear that there was a full rotate either inside of the laundry room over by the washing machine. So a little confusing as to what FaZe was trying to accomplish. I think that they were hoping to bait the attackers into spending too much time clearing out the roamers, but one of the best ways to simply have, you know, figure out where the roamers are is to just take control of site and force them to recommit, and that's exactly what BootKamp did. So I gotta say, this is being played really, really well, and it seems like on almost every single round, BootKamp is 1 to 2 steps ahead of FaZe, and with the lineup that BootKamp is bringing, we could see this yet again. You've got Duds going from Ashe to Zofia. Everything else is exactly the same. FaZe is going to be running a very similar strategy too this time around, except there will be no alibi for them. So how much closer to the site are you going to be if you're FaZe this time?
On my gamble, or on my bet here, is it's going to be what you were theorizing in the round prior. I think that BootKamp is going to try for a construction tank. And this, of course, because a lot of their drones are going by construction. They also have some over by garage. So I think they're going to keep their options open. Maybe make the call right as the round starts. Either way, no hard destructors yet again. And while both are still accessible, that's kind of interesting from BK. Now,
intriguing to see what they do with this.
So it looks like, yeah, it's going to be the construction rush. Here it comes. The question is, what will FaZe have in hand to stop it? Absolutely nothing, as it seems. M-King going to be the one droning in front of all of this. Light going to be the first one to follow it up. Here comes the phone call to Zofia onto the wall to try and get more access points. Paula already in the hallway. Obviously someone in the corner. Lipe wins that before Paula even can get there. Moringa, though, gets Lipe, and Mav responds onto Paula. So Duds evening onto Mav. It's a nice 3-3 as we see this play out. Cameraman has swiveled and now uses his holographic LMG to get Duds in the close proximity. So it's stalled now for BK.
But one thing that they have done is they've boxed 2 of them off-site. Both Gohan and Astro have no way to get through those open hatches or through those closed hatches. So the only person right now that they are pinning their hopes on is going to be Cameraman, and he's situated in that closet on the typical spot where your Mira would be. Are we going to see the Jaeger and Ella get back to site? M-King is holding a hard flank, and he's got the F2. He's in a position now where he could possibly win this fight with great ease. The Ella, though, coming out of where are you? Ella, Cameraman manages to get a kill on Intact, and M-King is last man standing. He is in a position to possibly get pinched. A couple shots from the Scorpion. just go down the stairs of the back tower. M-King will go onto his drone, which is miles away, and he's very vulnerable right now. He's in a position where he can get shot from those back stairs, playing very close to a spot that is affectionately referred to as Harry Potter. The Jaeger of Astro has worked his way back to site as well, playing just behind the metal casings, I suppose, by the bomb site, the shelving unit, and a couple shots, trying to lure out M-King, but this is an unwinnable situation. He'll get pinged, he'll get shot at, he's going to get pressured from multiple angles. No chance at all. Astro wins that one. So the clock doesn't strike midnight twice here on this team. They don't get to do it 2 times in a row. FaZe was in a good position, and a big part of that was how Mav played it. He threw the smoke down, and that's a killer blow when you're thinking. That smoke chews you up and spits you out real fast.
Yeah, it kills you in a couple seconds, really. So good job there to Mav to be aware that the Finka is going to be present on BootKamp and countering it so directly. Last time that Finka was able to get so many kills, and just this time it just wasn't able to happen. Now, FaZe Clan are fighting back, but BootKamp are still 1 away from the match point, and they have seemed pretty strong on these attacking rounds. Their dominance is born of their confidence, in my opinion. BootKamp are not being dismayed by the fact that they're playing against FaZe Clan. They're just saying, okay, well, we've got an opponent, we need to beat them. And they're bringing out all the stops, they're using all the strats, and it's working out pretty well for them. But the fundamental play and the experience that FaZe brings to the table is why they have held on, managed to get out 3 rounds. At the same time, it really could go either way. If FaZe starts shaping up and playing a little bit more like BootKamp, I think this is going to be absolute domination for them. But you have to question if that's really going to happen. They seem to be playing very safe, very passive, and not like they want to expose anything.
You're not going to be able to get away with a rush this time around either, and it's a lot more of a similar composition from BootKamp. They just went 2 rounds without running a single hard breacher, which of course just speaks to how quickly they wanted to try and take site. You can't really wait around for an exothermic charge or XK roast to go off when you're in that position. So a little bit more normal at the moment, if I can use that term, for what we're seeing from BootKamp's starting 5, and they're going to have to attack upstairs. The real question now is, we've seen BootKamp on attack twice. One time, they got away with a pretty cheeky, but not too outside the ordinary rush down the main stairs to take control of Laundry. The second time they went for a construction rush, that was shut down with good effectiveness from FaZe. How are they going to do now on attack, having to use a simple attack strategy involving hard destruction? That is going to be the big question mark, because we haven't really seen it yet. We don't have a sample size to go off of.
I can tell you right now, they're clearly strategizing for a master closet take, given that they've brought the Thatcher and the Thermite, and they're already working their way towards the master balcony. But it's already been a decent amount of time into the round, and they're just now getting situated. Paula, nice drone position here, and will be calling out the pulse inside of tower. Good information to have, not only that there's a pulse, but where he is. You're going to be able to assure yourself that there's no one underneath you as you thermite your wall in the master closet. Well, has rotated though, so something that BootKamp are going to have to keep in mind. They're being a lot slower, obviously, and they're trying to take this strategically, which stands to reason. They also haven't committed themselves to a master take just yet. M-King going to be working his way over there with Lipe, though. The Thermite Thatcher duo going to open it up eventually. You're likely going to see M-King hold on to the main lobby to deny the flank while possibly Thatchering into the closet from below. It's actually not that difficult to do, and there it goes. The Thermite will be the follow-up. There is no Astro to Bandit as I can see right now, but he could possibly rotate onto the wall in just a little bit. Trying to play the angles from the armory, and he will cut off rotation between sites.
Oh, that is not great timing, as one of those missiles gets taken out. Is that a C4 from below that missed? But Mav not connecting the dots where he needs to. Leadoff kill is going to go to M-King as Astro falls. No more of the Bandit. May have complete control of Generator at the moment. M-King still on that big window, will be rewarded with yet a second kill as Patience holding him off as Gohan is taken out with a headshot, leaving 3 for FaZe. Cameraman will take 1, but Paula refrags quite quickly. Mav is there to shut down M-King, who had gotten 2 kills, and Paula looking maybe to get that diffuser off. A smoke from Moringa will go out, and Mav trying to get 1 downstairs. He'll miss most of his shots, pull out the pistol, and just playing around that wall, but will drop intact. So Mav with 2 kills himself. Plant going down successfully will leave both Paula and Duds to hold off against 2. You saw that Mav was off-site. Moringa will need to try to hold off until his ally can get back. Diffuser just about to hit the halfway mark. Duds holding a long angle from inside of Armory, and Paula outside will use one logic bomb, as the defenders will either have to let that phone ring or take precious seconds to shut it down. Ill-timed as Mav runs up the stairs. His phone's still going away. Moringa takes out Paula, so Duds is the last man standing, but the defuse is going off. Can he get there in time? He'll try to shut it down, but no, Duds can't connect. FaZe will easily take that, and a double up as Mav manages to benefit from Duds missing a couple easy shots through the wall of Armory, and it's 4-4.
That really was a boot camp round, and I am reminiscing right now on the Ninjas in Pajamas match where they executed onto Master in the exact same fashion and lost for very similar reasons, unable to hold that post plant, really. So boot camp, a nice try, but FaZe Clan just one more step away, or step closer to bringing this to their win, actually. It's anyone's game still. We're not in a draw definitive position yet, but we certainly will be in the next round. The question is, who's going to put us there? Mav, now, having played that round so very well, is, I think, got to be feeling pretty good about himself. I mean, he managed to, I'm sure he missed a C4, but he managed to do a lot of work just in terms of gunplay and picking apart those attackers individually. In a way, you could say it was about a 3K, but also there was the unconfirmed kill at the end there.
Yeah, unfortunate that his C4 missed, though. That should have been a pretty dead-on-the-mark kind of explosive, especially with how close it was from what we saw. It might have just been off by a hair, or it could have been one of those things where it hits the beam and it doesn't actually go up as much as we need verticality-wise for Mav. But
I think he just moved at the right moment.
It also could have been that. It could have been, but
either way.
I mean, I don't know how far that round goes if Duds wins that 1v1 on Mav. He had perfect opportunity to do that. As Mav came up the stairs to Armory, Duds whiffed a lot of shots and could not connect. Mav even still had the phone ringing, so you knew he was coming.
If we want to place blame, it was a bit of a throw from Duds, but those things happen sometimes.
It was unfortunate for him and for his team, because that would have put him in a 1v1 against Moringa, who of course would have had a shotgun, but wouldn't have been able to stick the defuse as readily without worry of where the Zofia was. So could have been a totally different round. And the good thing is that no matter what, Michael, we are on match point after this. So these teams will come ever closer to being able to take a victory away. Now keep in mind, BootKamp still looking for their first win, as is FaZe, but FaZe not a loser just yet, as they of course tied yesterday. So will they be able to get a mark onto the scoreboard? What was shaping up to be a really strong performance by BootKamp has now fallen off in favor of FaZe getting 2 rounds, one of which I would say was gifted to them by that construction rush, which wasn't exactly maybe the smartest and safest idea.
Yeah, that's, again, it's FaZe's experience, their maturity in the Siege competitive world to be able to hold on to this match and not let it slip away after some really unfortunate losses earlier. I believe they lost 2 in a row, I want to say 2 in a row at the beginning of the match.
BK went up by, in fact, it's actually been a swing every single time. So rounds 1 and 2 went to BK, 3 and 4 went to FaZe, 5 and 6 went to BK, and so far 7 and 8 have gone to FaZe. So if that holds,
here goes BK.
Yeah, BootKamp should be able to win this one, and then the next one to finish off FaZe in what has been one of the most lopsided community votes that we have seen in ages. MKing running the Scar on the Blackbeard, that MK17, is an interesting choice. We've seen the DMR be the favored weapon because of how much damage it outputs, but MKing right now, just looking through that small crack between the wall and the foundation by the back tower on an angle towards the stage, and it just narrowly missed Gohan as he went to rotate.
Cameraman going to open up some angles on the default plant spot. That's actually pretty smart. That's going to allow for flexibility for the defense as they come up to the main lobby. Since he dropped, he can now deny the plant if that's where BootKamp choose to push, but it doesn't look like that's their commitment right this minute. They haven't actually committed to anything just yet. You can see that drone downstairs, not active right now, which means FaZe is not going to shoot it yet because they don't want to give away their position and their potential flank. Cameraman should still have an impact, so he can flank this if he at the right moment. It looks like MKing has fallen off of that doorway, so no kill for Camera. A nice maneuver, though, and FaZe has all potential flanks on the attack inside the building.
Astro's going to look like there was an explosion there for him. Cameraman takes out Duds. That was inside of Attic, the Zofia, with no awareness. And now you can see Astro work his way into meeting, looking for a push through the one doorway. Mav will take out M-King, and you can hear the Ying and the Candelas will rattle off. Paula still on Repel, the newest member. And he's just going to need to cover for Lipe as the diffuser goes down, and this is not good shape for FaZe. They will have to execute a great retake at the moment as they have lost control. Lipe picks off Mav, and Lipe gets a second on a Moringa. He's still very vulnerable to that window, and of course, towards Attic should somebody push out. But the one thing is, it's a very small hole. Intact will take out Astro, and Gohan running outside. FaZe have lost complete control. Paula will shut him down, and it's now a 1v3 as Lipe takes out Cameraman, and they picked them off. It might have been an advantage for FaZe in numbers, but BootKamp executing a tremendous post-plant scenario, and a bit of fireworks right there from the Thermite. We could call it a fat finger, but no matter what, match point in favor of BootKamp. 1 round away now from shutting out FaZe in this game.
So that was a very interesting round, actually, and the main reason being is BootKamp was pushing into main lobby. They were pushing into meeting all. They had the guys in a position to be flanked from that doorway to tower, and FaZe read all this. They realized that they could push from behind. They could catch BootKamp off guard, and then right as FaZe started flanking, BootKamp fell off. The perfect timing. And they decided to commit fully to a pure and simple tower take, walk in and plant, and that's what they did. And it worked out great for them because all of those FaZe clan roamers were just too far from the site to influence the actual site itself. So they had a good maneuver. They read the maneuver properly, but FaZe clan honestly just too far, unable to stop the plant. And then the post-plant hold from BootKamp was probably the best we've seen all day.
That was perfect. Every single angle was covered off. Lipe getting 2 incredible kills to start it off and then getting the final as well. It was a tremendous effort. You could see the desperation from FaZe as they basically just tried to throw everything at the remaining members of BootKamp, not really knowing where they were, but still trying to take the fights by playing angles that BootKamp had locked down.
And I have to say, throwing your bodies as defender at the attackers in the post plant immediately throughout this day, this play day has been working.
And on tower 2, which is where you're usually going to know where the well, not the defenders, I suppose.
Attackers.
I guess they're the attackers, but they're defending the diffuser. You know where they're going to be situated. You know where they're going to be positioned because it's a pretty small site. It's very easy for you to get trapped up there and just have the attackers swarm you or the defenders swarm you and take you out. So that was really impressive from BootKamp, and take a look at what we're going to see again to finish things off and cap off what could be an electric day. But no, Gohan is positioned to shred Paula. There will be no boost from the Finka whatsoever. Read wisely FaZe, knowing that a cheeky push would ensue onto Laundry and Supply, and Gohan will get that first kill and completely shut down the rush.
So BootKamp going to have to reevaluate that. Now keep in mind, again, last round of the match, it's either a draw or a win for BK. And it looks like FaZe is going to try and draw this out. I mean, well, obviously they're going to try, but it looks like they're going to have a good effort in that regard. They've already got the first kill, and one of the most influential operators at Finka. Undervalued by many teams, but BootKamp obviously using her as best as is possible. No smokes this time, going to be able to influence the Finkas. Last time it was Mav, this time it's Moringa. But still, BootKamp just taking it slow now. No hard destructors either. Now, I get it. I understand. You know, you want to commit to a rush. But let me tell you about this great operator. Name's Habana. She's a 3-speed. She's got some really great weapons. And if you don't want to use her utility in your original strategy, you don't have to. But it's really great to have if you are in a situation like this where the initial rush doesn't work and now the attack is completely stalled.
If BootKamp manages to pull this off, it will literally just have to be haymaker after haymaker to this team of FaZe on defense, because they don't really have a lot of utility to work with. They're basically going to have to freeze people in place and take fights, either one by one or in unison, because there's really no other way around it. If you're FaZe, you basically just consolidate your defenses and wait for it to happen. Astro picks apart Lipe, and now you've lost the Dokkaebi. Here's that the first line is going to go down, and Astro's Carbine will make easy work of Intact. He's all gone, and it's all up to M-King and Duds, definitely facing away towards a draw. But don't write them out just yet. Duds gets a kill on Astro, and M-King is going to work his way towards those stairs. Walks down. He sees one. M-King gets one, and it looks like a down as well. He can't capitalize. No, M-King, you gotta land those shots. He'll be joined by Zofia, and will be smoked off, but M-King gets Mav now as well. Cameraman is down. It's all up to Moringa. It's a 1v2 at the moment, and somehow M-King has just come out of nowhere, and with that, FAMAS completely shredded FaZe as they had stacked up. One will drop, and you're going to have to see some spectacular play from Moringa. He'll take out M-King, waiting for the next push. Can Moringa go for the clutch? No! Oh my goodness, BootKamp somehow wins it. An absolutely masterful performance, and they will shut FaZe down to get the victory. I feel like we were just assessing that community poll. 88% of you thought that FaZe were going to take it. And that is not the case. The 12% prevail. And what a final round from M-King. Oh my word. Extraordinary effort from him. And him alone, really, on that final push to win it for BootKamp.
Yet at the same time, Parker, we got to acknowledge the absolute king of throws for the day. It wasn't M-King, in fact, it was FaZe. Standing in the middle of the laundry room, just kind of out in the open, allowing M-King to tear them apart. Probably couldn't have gotten any easier. I mean, not only that, but the first two players that were standing in the open, one gets down, the other gets killed. Then a third FaZe player, like, oh, I can pick him up. Let's go for the pickup. M-King managed to secure that kill as well.